Welcome to KVEC Behavior Cadre. My name's Doug Smith. I'll be your host. The title is Building Positive Student-Teacher Relationships. So, what makes a positive student-teacher relationship? I have six things or six ideals up on the screen here. One of them is a consistent engagement. Then we're looking at warmth, reciprocal and effective communication, closeness, safety and security, and overall high quality interactions. So when we're talking about consistent engagement, we're talking about actively connecting with students on a regular basis, show interest in their lives, learning, and their well-being. Some ways to do that, we can greet students every day with genuine attention, check in regularly about academic progress and personal goals as well, and maintain a steady presence. Avoid long stretches of not talking with your students or not being engaged in what they've got going on with them in their lives. So be there, be available, and consistently engage with your students. Warmth is a positive, encouraging, and supportive interactions that make students feel cared for as individuals. Some ways to show warmth is the tone of voice that you use, plus facial expressions and body language that communicates kindness and respect. I also celebrate both efforts and accomplishments. Sometimes we get caught up on just celebrating when the students have accomplished a goal or have accomplished a task, but we rarely get caught up in encouraging them and providing them with that celebrations of that effort that they put forth to achieve that goal or accomplish that task. Offer encouragement during challenges instead of criticisms. It seems like it's easier for us to offer to criticize our kiddos when they're having struggles, it being academically or behaviorally, instead of offering them that support and that help and that encouragement that they need. Just the criticism is just easier to come by, I guess we could say. And so you just got to look out for what are those small steps, those small wins, those small victories that we can get with our students on a daily basis as we interact with them throughout. Reciprocal and effective communication means that communication is a two-way uh, ideal. So you students feel heard and teachers adapt based on student feedback. So we allowed students to provide with some feedback and we adjust our teaching practices accordingly to that feedback. Some ways that we can provide that feedback or provide that communication is to ask open-ended questions instead of only giving directives. We get caught up with just giving commands or demands or telling kids what to do instead of having that open invitation for communication back and forth. We need to provide space for students' opinions, suggestions, and concerns, clarify expectations, and check for understanding as much as often as needed. Closeness is a sense of emotional connection and mutual respect between student and teacher. Some ways to improve this or increase their closeness with our students is to share appropriate personal stories to humanize yourselves. Our kiddos like to know what's going on in our lives. So, if it's something appropriate that you can share or something that you're excited about or you're willing to share with the kiddos, please by all means share those stuff with those. Let those kids understand that, school's not all that you have going on. A lot of times they think that's the only place that our younger kids think schools. That's where you live. I mean, that's the only place they see you. And so just let them understand that there's more to you than just the school setting. Have any of you ever been out at like a store or somewhere and a kiddo in your classroom sees you and they kind of like, oh my gosh, it's a rock star or something. They're just kind of starstruck when they see you outside of the school setting. So just be able to share that information with yourself. You need to learn about your students' interests and cultures and strengths. A lot of times, like I said, we can acknowledge the weaknesses or point out the barriers, but the strengths are kind of hard to come by at times. So acknowledge, learn about their students' strengths and acknowledge those, and build rapport through humor, shared experiences, or consistent encouragement. I know that some folks feel that field trips are It's a rough day. It's a hard day. The kids are, having a good time, enjoying themselves, and the supervision is just a nightmare. But those trips that you can take, those school sponsored trips that you can take with your kiddos, man, enjoy those because that helps build that relationship. That helps build that closeness. That helps them to see that there's, like I said, there's more to you than just the school setting and the school building. So enjoy your students and enjoy yourself while you're out there and doing activities with your kiddos. Participate every day with them if you can during recess or PE or whatever you want to call it. Have some way that you can participate with your kids on a daily basis. Safety and security means that students trust classrooms a safe environment, physically, academically, and emotionally. So we need to let students understand that it's all right if they make a mistake in their classroom. It's part of the learning process, and as long as you learn from your mistakes, it's all right. So don't be so tore up if a student makes a mistake in your classroom. You have to maintain fair and consistent rules, and then you have to consistently I guess, enforce your rules or make sure your rules and expectations are being followed. And then also address bullying. That, if a kid is being bullied, they're definitely not feeling safe in your school or your classroom. So uh, make sure you address those bullying situations as quickly and firmly as possible. So overall, high quality interactions are characterized by respect, responsiveness, and authenticity. So be present and attentive in conversations with the students you work with. Uh, Balance instruction with relational moments, and then also offer feedback specific, constructive, and encouraging. Like I said, we want to make sure that we're encouraging our students to do well in all aspects of their school setting and their school life. So why do relationships matter? Relationships matter because they improve motivation and engagement. When students feel valued, uh, you are creating a sense of belonging, which encourages students to participate actively in class discussions, group work, and independent tasks. Students that are motivated, they're engaged, are more willing to take academic risks, and therefore attempt challenging assignments when they feel supported by you. So if we build relationships, build trust and safety, a classroom culture where students feel emotionally and physically safe helps to build trust, and that trust is should be the foundation behind the relationships that you build with your students. Without that trust, you don't really have a relationship. So work on building that trust and safety and security for those students. Trust allows students to share ideas without fear of judgment or embarrassment, and a safe environment that promotes open communication uh, is one that where students feel comfortable asking questions and seeking help. Also, relationships reduce behavior issues. Students who feel connected to their teachers are less likely to act out because of that relationship uh, that they have built with you. Sometimes they may not want to damage that relationship or harm that relationship. So it does reduce behavior issues. With the reduced behavior issues, you have more on task opportunities and on task experiences that your students are being a part of. So you can provide them with that motivation and that encouragement that way as well. Also, you can identify triggers and look at those antecedent uh, based strategies to put into place before problem behaviors become uh, just what they are, problems or difficulties in your classroom. Uh, Positive connections shift classroom climate toward respect and cooperation, and it provides a foundation for restorative conversations if you ever have to have those restorative conversations with their students. And I'd imagine you will have to do that sometime throughout the school year. So just be prepared for that, build that relationship, pile up those positives. So when you have to address that negative or have that restorative a conversation, it's not going to damage that relationship that you already have, that you've developed with your students. Also encourages strength or resilience and growth. It helps students bounce back from mistakes, failures, or challenges, show belief in students' abilities, and build self-confidence, and perseverance. And students learn that setbacks are part of growth. And like I said earlier, if you make a mistake, own up to that mistake, correct that mistake, and go on. I mean, use it as a learning experience and as a teaching experience as well. So those are some ideas of why relationships matter. I think relationships matter because the better relationship you have with the students, the more engaged they're going to be in your classroom, and the more engaged they're going to be with the lesson and the content. Also, more engaged and feel more part of the school setting overall. Some core elements of strong relationships: respect and trust. As I was saying, students need to feel their teachers respect them as an individual, not just as learners. And trust is built when teachers show fairness, honesty, and responsibility and reliability. So, how could you do this as a teacher? Use students' names and pronounce them correctly. I've had students in the past had difficult names that I had a difficult time pronouncing, and I had to have that student say their name for me a couple of times. I had to write it down. I had to kind of figure out how to sound it out in my own way. And so then I'd have them to, you know, say their name for me several times. So it was difficult, but I tried to learn that student's name and say it the best that they could. Also, like we were saying, treat mistakes as learning opportunities and keep private matters private. You don't want to call out a student in front of their peers, especially, high school, middle age, or middle school, high school age peers. Because if you do, then you know what happens. You've got to deal with that situation. And a lot of times it turns negative really quickly because you've embarrassed that student in front of their peers, and they've got to figure out some way to save face. So if there's some way that you can keep a private matter private, address it uh, privately, and don't call it out in front of everyone, then you're building that relationship and have better respect for that. That student will have better respect and trust for and with you. So if we look at empathy and understanding, recognize and value students' emotions, perspectives, and challenges. Actively listen when students share concerns. Show them that you can validate their feelings. You don't have to agree with their feelings, or don't have to say, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's what you should do, but you can validate their feelings. You could make statements like, I can see you're frustrated, or I would be upset too if that happened to me. Let's figure this out together. How can I help you have a wonderful day? So just show empathy and understanding, and then learn about cultural backgrounds, interest, and family context. Uh, Students feel valued when there's a sense of emotional safety in your classroom. High expectations with support would look like believing in students' ability to succeed while providing them with those scaffolds and encouragement to help them meet those expectations. We set high expectations for all students, but we set realistic expectations for all students as well. So we hold all students to high expectations, and a lot of times they'll live up to those expectations that we have. So if you set clear, achievable goals that the students can work toward and be able to accomplish, provide step-by-step guidance, provide models, and provide practice, and provide with positive corrective feedback when you're doing the practice steps. Offer constructive feedback that's focused on growth and not just grades. Like I said, I know grades are important, but we don't need to get caught up in grades when we can, offer that support in a way that we know that they know that we are providing them with that feedback on the attempts or on the progress toward accomplishing a goal. And two-way communication, as I said before, it encourages build an environment where students feel safe enough that they can share their ideas, feedback, and concerns. And teachers also share appropriately, of course. Encourage student voice in classroom rules, projects, and learning activities. Check for understanding with open-ended questions, and then be approachable and be available. Let students know that you're available to them when they need to talk to you or when they need to see you. Just have office hours or have a way that they can set up an appointment to come visit you or come talk with you. But just be approachable for your students. And then when they ask for your attention, make sure you provide them with that full attention. So, and just be there, be aware. And then consistency and predictability. Students thrive when they know what to expect, and both in academics and behaviorally. And they thrive when they know what's expected of the routines and then how teachers respond to different behaviors. So maintain classroom routines and schedules. Not only maintain them, but stick to those. It's difficult at times when we have schedule changes and things, so that throws our routine off. And when it throws our routine off, we have a difficult time. And then when our students don't understand what's going on, they're going to have a difficult time with that as well. So just be aware of showing that consistently following the routines that you've set forth. Respond to behaviors calmly and firmly without favoritism. You know, the rules apply to everyone, not just little Dougie, or not just they don't apply because this is the teacher's son or whatever. Just the rules apply to everyone, and they need to follow through with those rules on everyone and follow through on promises and consequences that you set forth. So, some practical ideals or strategies that we can try or you can try. These are some things that I've used and I've kind of been successful with. But like I said, this is not an end all list. So, please, if you have any suggestions or ideals that you'd like to share, uh, please share those with us. So, the first one we'll talk about a little bit is show enthusiasm and passion. So, showing enthusiasm and passion is vital for fostering an atmosphere of learning and exploration. Enthusiasm and motivates the students to learn, and the passion shows them how the lessons have relevance and purpose. So, some ways that you could do that in the classroom is offer creative activities to your students. Instead of doing, everyone doing the same project or the same paper or the same reading or whatever, have students have different ways creatively that they can show you what they've learned or what they know or how they can express their, I guess, what's it called, confidence or express their proficiency in the material that you're working on. Engage with students' opinions, listen to their opinions, and provide them with, we'll get into it a little bit with the feedback. So just listen to what the students have to say and provide examples that are relevant to the students in your teaching and in your classes. Uh, Next one is respect, and treat each student with respect and recognize their individual needs. You'll have to be patient, understanding, and open to hearing different perspectives. Respectful student-teacher relationships are based on trust and communication. So how do I show respect and create a welcoming classroom? One thing you could do is take time to listen to what the students have to say. Listen to what they have to say, respond appropriately, and be open-minded about what they have to say. And like I say, listen, actively listening, actively participate in and providing them with feedback as well. Balance teacher-centered lectures with group discussions. It's difficult to go into a classroom and all you do is sit and just sit and listen and take notes and leave. It's hard to build a relationship in a classroom like that. So have some ways that you can balance those lectures and group discussions and provide that back and forth with your students. Give each student undivided attention when needed. And when appropriate, of course. I mean, if you're doing middle of a math lesson and a student starts asking you some personal questions, then that's probably not an appropriate time to provide that student with that attention that they're needing or that they're wanting. So set up an appointment with them. Let them know, hey, I've got 2:15 open today. If you want to come by and speak for a few minutes, I'll be more than happy to meet with you. Just provide them with an opportunity that they can get your attention when they need it, and you'll provide them with your undivided attention. Provide positive reinforcement and meaningful feedback. So uh, the positive reinforcement goes a long way as far as when you have to provide that corrective feedback, doing it, providing that reinforcement, and then providing that feedback. Draw attention to what students are doing right. I'm sorry. Highlight the good uh, and more than the bad. Our ratio of 5 to 1. We got to see the good. We have to draw attention to what students are doing right and praise their successes. By doing this, we create an environment where students feel valued and supported, as well as motivated to continue striving for that success. Verbally acknowledge accomplishments, offer incentives such as extra credit or a special activity as ways to reward good behavior. Create a bulletin board that celebrates student successes. I'm hoping or that you have a place in your classroom where you have like a brag board or a something where students' work can be shown off. And I've seen it out in the hallways and schools and things like that, which is really cool. So not only do the teacher and students see it, but the parents that are in the building see that work as well. And I've been in that situation where I've went to the wall to find my son's work or my child's work and see if it was displayed with the rest of them and stuff like that. And it makes you feel good as a parent to see that up there. So it also makes students feel good that you're proud of their work enough that you will, display it prominently and encourage other folks to take a look at your work. Uh, Notify families about progress and achievements. And you got to make with the families as well. You got to build up that 5 to 1 ratio, 5 positives to 1 negative. Build up those 5 positive things you can say to the parents or and those 5 positive engagements. Then when you have to make that phone call home, that yeah, little Dougie's been a little bit of a handful today, so it makes that phone call a little bit easier to do. So learn your students. So getting to know your students lets you tailor your teaching methods to what they need, individual fit their individual needs. So to learn your students, I mean, what other way are you going to build a relationship if you don't know anything about your students? So have regular one-on-one conversations with students or host group activities that encourage collaboration and discussion. Invite students share aspects of their personal lives, such as hobbies, passions, family stories. What are some things that you've done, as a traditional I don't know if you celebrated Thanksgiving, what was something that a tradition that your family had for Thanksgiving, so forth and so on. So learn about your kiddos. Uh, Learn about relate to any of their experiences that you can by relating to their experiences, help them feel connected to you, and they help feel more comfortable and more willing to share things with you. So uh, of course, you want to make sure that you keep those, those, I guess, barriers or those safeguards up so that you don't share too much personal information that the students can use, to kind of push your buttons or get you or get you stirred up or whatever, things like that. So just share things with students, but just be conscious of what you're sharing and how that could be used inappropriately. So one-on-one communication. Many students need teachers willing to listen and give support when they need it, not just when they're having difficulties. So make time for one-on-one communication as much as necessary. Some of that stuff we talked about a little bit, like meeting with students before or after class to discuss assignments. Give extra help during free periods. then set aside a few minutes daily to check in, ask how they're doing. One of the things that I did, and I did not realize that it was a strategy for improving relationships, it's called a 2 by 10. You take 2 minutes a day for 10 days, and you pick out one or two students and to talk about anything they want to talk about. Uh, and it doesn't necessarily have to be school related. It could be a an activity or a hobby or an event that they're going to. You could talk about that. So just take that. That'll be what, 20 minutes, and take that 20 minutes to learn a little bit about that student, to build that relationship, to have those discussions. I mean, who knows? You may develop a great relationship with that student that keeps those behavior difficulties from arising. Or you may not, but all you've lost is, 20 minutes of time, but you learn a great deal about a young person that you're going to be interacting with for quite some time. So just make time for that and practice like I said, 2 by 10 uh, intervention, I guess you could say, or strategy. Next thing we want to look at is choice. When we provide students with freedom to make their own choices, it can help them not only in the classroom, but can also help with those problem solving skills that they're going to need later on in life. So, in order to create an atmosphere where students feel comfortable, you may want to develop open-ended questions, allow room for creativity and just thinking outside the box, I guess you could say. Create an activity or assignment requiring students to collaborate and problem solve. Allow students to choose their projects or assignments. Give them that choice. Give them that opportunity to provide autonomy uh, in their educational process. Uh, be flexible with classroom rules. Allow for a certain degree of freedom within the structure. That's why when we're making our rules, and we want to make sure that they're few in number, 3 to 5, they're stated positively, and they're in a and what the student can do, and they're in student-friendly language, of course. And if you get your students to help you create your rules, there's a lot more buy-in to those. It's easier for them to say, yeah, when something happens and you remind them of the rules, then they can say, yeah, we did come up with that, or we did create that rule together as a class. So I got to pay attention to that and follow that rule. So sometimes we make mistakes. Yeah, I know. Even me, I know it's hard to believe at times, but mistakes are a natural part of the learning process. So when we acknowledge our mistakes and we use them as an opportunity to grow, that not only helps the kids see that we're, I guess, human, but it helps provide them with that confidence to uh, persevere, to keep going, to keep trying, to keep working. So when we make mistakes and not acknowledge our own mistakes and try to learn from them, create a safe space for students to share mistakes without judgment. Let them know that, this is it's a safe space. If you make a mistake, we're going to use that to find out what your misconception was and how we can address that and right that misconception or make it a more positive experience for you. Have conversations about how to learn from mistakes, and then how to use those as a way to grow. We want to not only provide feedback, but we have to be able to accept that feedback as well. May have great suggestions of our teaching methods and activities. So, listening to them and taking those things into account will help increase that student-teacher relationship. You could do this by creating surveys or polls with open-ended questions, invite student feedback on lesson plans or on activities. And they'll be honest with you. If they enjoyed an activity, they'll tell you. If they didn't enjoy an activity, they may say, I don't think we need to do this again. It didn't work out for us. So, and then take into consideration what they're saying. Allow students to share their thoughts after each class. All right. So, what you guys think about today's activity? Can you see us doing this again? Did it help? Certain things like that. But just look for that uh, feedback and that constructive, I guess, feedback and how you can acknowledge that and maybe change your teaching strategies at times to address what the students provide you with. Sometimes you have to lead as a role model. You have to lead by example. Being a role model for positive behavior, showing respectfulness and showing kindness and you know, being there for other people, helping others, and things like that. So being a role model, practice self-care, encourage your students to do the same thing, and then show an interest in building relationships with each student, not just the favorite students or not just the ones that everybody else likes. So you got to try to build that relationship with all students. And then a simple, very easy thing to do, and I hope you do it every morning or after each class or every afternoon, is just a basic greeting. Just good morning, man. I'm glad to see you today. We missed you yesterday. Hope you have a wonderful day. Uh, things like that. Just saying good morning. Make eye contact as you're passing out papers or whatever you need to do. As you take attendance, welcome them by a smile and saying good morning to everyone, providing that encouragement and setting that tone for the rest of the day. Even at the end of your class or the end of the day, as you see students leaving or whatever, oh man, glad to see you today. I hope you have a great evening. Be safe. See you tomorrow. Things like that. Just that positive, upbeat uh, greeting kind of helps set the day for the rest, for the rest of the day. So just be aware of that and just those basic things like, hey man, happy to see you. Thanks for being here today. So building relationships with students, it's not easy, but it is a battle for creating a supportive classroom environment. So take time to get to know your students, listen to what they have to say, and be open to learning from them as much as possible, and just be willing to share experiences and ideals and activities with them that you both enjoy and build those relationships and you have to foster those relationships once you start. So just be aware and like I said, just be available for your students. Get to know them and enjoy your students while you have them. They're just the size for a little while, and then it moves on. Well, all right. So, do I have any questions? Any comments? So some of the questions that you could think about is how do I build trust with my students? What are some things that you do to build trust with your students? I think honesty is one of those things. You have to be honest with your students. Provide them with the support that they need. But when they ask you to do something that's not possible for you to do, be honest with them. Say, "No, I can't do that. Could possibly, But just be honest and be willing to be there for your students. So think about one strategy you could try tomorrow. If you've not done it, I highly recommend the 2 by 10. Just give it a shot. Even with that kiddo that we have a difficult time with trying to build that relationship, give it a chance with that student and see what happens. I mean, like I said, uh, you could build a positive relationship with that kiddo. You can learn something about them, or you've just there was 20 minutes of the school year that you spent trying to build a relationship. So, it's a win-win, I think. And then think about it. Do you give more positives than corrections? Those positives, when we're given positives, and one thing that we need to think about is ensure that you try to provide with behavior specific praise. What is it that you're praising the student for? What is it that the student did that got your positive comments? What did they do that caught your attention? And the more that you point out the positives and the more that you point out what they're doing correctly, the more opportunities you'll have of students around them seeing what you're praising them for, and possibly encourage those students as well to develop those skills that they need to be successful academically and behaviorally. So if there's no questions, please, questions, I'd like for everyone to think about what's one thing that you do to increase relationship building in your classroom or increase the way that you uh, improve those relationships in your classroom. And then I'm going to stop screen sharing and we're going to talk just for a minute and be finished. All right. So just unmute and give us an idea of what you do as far as cultivating relationships in your classroom.
I like how that you point out having a real conversation with them to because other than we're always I know that when I was in the classroom I was fixated on okay, I got to do my rules, I got to get this done, I got to so and then I realize you're constantly just really giving directions and giving you know commands, but not in a commanding way, but you're giving directions all the time and instruction. But when you change your tone a little bit and have that conversation, it does make a difference in that student. You can see the kind of a relief of that student. It, like a wall just kind of comes down a little bit when you have that conversation.
Yeah, and it also helps that when you have to have those difficult conversations, that student has someone in that school that they know that they can come to for that support and they can come to when they need that extra help and assistance. So yeah, I mean, just having those conversations, even with the kiddos that are, we with some of our students we work with are nonverbal, and a lot of times we just stand back and just tell what they should be doing instead of actually communicating and involving them in the classroom and in the conversation. So even our nonverbal students, uh, you still have to activate or initiate conversation with those students as well. I
We
think
have a comment in the chat as well. Tricia, thank you for sharing. She said that she stands at the door between classes and makes sure that she speaks to every student that walks into her room, and she tries to make that connection each day with the student.
that is awesome. I love that. Uh, uh,
Yes, addressing students by names helps with building relationships, is also in the chat.
yeah, just those uh, the school that I was at before, we would our principal met the students as they got off the bus. Now, as soon as they got off the bus, he was there saying, hello, good morning, glad to see you. And as they walked into the front office or into the foyer there, uh, it was the same thing. Good morning, how you doing? I'm so happy to see you. Uh, uh, and so all the way down the hallway and stuff. So by the time the kids got to their classroom, they had good morning said to them, glad you're here, had their name said. And so it just went a long way in building that school culture and environment of care and belonging. And if we think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, once those basic safety needs are met, our basic needs are met, then safety and security, then we have love and belonging. So, Maslow said that you could not progress from one level to the next without having that previous one met. So, just
We
think
got a couple
about
more comments in the chat I'll share with you. Sh Shana had shared with us that She loved how that you mentioned the strategy about taking 2 minutes with 10 kids and just having that conversation. It's a great way to build relationships. She said that she did something similar with a group of students a couple years ago, and it made a big difference in their relationship. And she said that they continue to come to her for certain things. And
Uh,
then we had another comment from Scott Napier, and we do really appreciate you guys sharing. Try to take the time during the day to actually talk to my students. I want to make sure that they know that I am interested in them and how they are doing, and that is so important. And I know not many of our students are involved in extracurricular activities, but if you do have some that do participate, just going to their pee-wee games or whatever their band recital or something like that. If you just show up for them, you would blow their minds away by doing that. Um, and then another good point by Kelly, she said that she tries to make sure to check in, particularly with the students who were absent. And yes, that's a very good point.
Yeah, I like that because those, I mean, if a kiddo's been out for a couple of days or whatever, just letting that kid know that, yeah, we missed you at school and we're really concerned about you and glad that you're back. Now also one thing that you got to think about, I don't know about also, but one thing you got to think about too is building that student-teacher relationship goes beyond just the student and the teacher. It goes parents, siblings, grandparents, caregivers, whatever. If you build that positive relationship with that student, then you have I think, better opportunity of having a positive working relationship with the parents. Uh, you know, and you have more, I guess, support of the school setting when those parents see that you care enough for their kids to take the time to learn and to build a relationship with those kiddos. I remember, man, I would get in any activity, extracurricular activities that you do as a teacher, a lot of times it's transportation is a pain and stuff like that. And I've had parents call and make sure that their kid had a ride home or that someone was going to be waiting for them to get to school because they may be late when that kid gets there and things like that. And it just went a long way as far as solidifying that relationship with that parent so that if I needed their support or their help, I could count on them. And so it's the student is the important one, but it filters down or trickles down to the parents and caregivers as well.
That is definitely true. I have witnessed that because the kids go home and talk, and if they know that you treat their baby well, then you want them over. I know as a parent, I'm the same way with my kids. We have another comment in the chat from Shayna. She said that she had forgot to mention before that she had a student that had or one of her a major behavioral issue, and she built that relationship with that student. And then once that was established, the whole classroom dynamic changed. And I think that's one thing that we don't even realize or we wouldn't expect that or even know what it's causing to the classroom as a whole. But
Mm.
that one relationship just changed everything. So that's very powerful.
Yeah. I think it was Miss Rita Pearson. Every child needs a champion. If you've not had an opportunity to view that, please. It's entertaining, but it's motivational as well. But she talked about every child, every child needed a champion, someone that believed in that child, someone that encouraged that child, and someone that would go to bat for that child and be there when that child needed someone. And she said her mother was an educator, and she said that when she passed, that there were students from many years that ago that had her mother as a teacher that came to the funeral, I guess you could say, and then just the impact that she had on all of those students so long ago. and how much that they remembered her, and still, even after they'd become adult, they still went back to show that support for uh, Miss Rita and her mother. So thanks everyone for being here. Thank you, Miss Chastity, for all your help and support this afternoon, and thanks everyone for your comments. Hang in there. Uh, Y'all are awesome. Just like I said, work on those relationships, work on those uh getting to know your students, and make sure you're following your routines, procedures consistently, and just provide those students with that encouragement and support that they need, and they'll also help your school career, your education career be a more enjoyable time as well. So thanks, everyone. I'm Doug Smith from Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative. And be safe, be kind, be exceptional.